Hello and welcome to Our Rugby Club. Today's guest is Sean Phelan, a passionate advocate for grassroots rugby and somebody deeply involved in online rugby communities through his platform Fill Your Boots. Fill Your Boots began back in 2015 with a simple but powerful idea, helping local rugby clubs and players connect so that matches don't get cancelled when teams are short of players. What started as a social media initiative has grown into a global community, linking hundreds of clubs and thousands of rugby fans across multiple countries. The platform now connects grassroots clubs, players, volunteers, and supporters, helping people find teams, arrange fixtures, share advice, and keep the spirit of community rugby alive. It's followed by 10,000 people in the rugby community too, all enthusiasts. And he continues to champion the idea that grassroots game is the heart of rugby. So behind the scenes, Sean Phelan, what has he done? Well, he's worn every hat imaginable. Player, captain, social secretary, fixtures organiser, and I'm sure many more. That hands-on experience is what has inspired him to fulfil his dream, probably not, of running a platform called Fill Your Boots in the first place. So today we'll be talking about grassroots rugby, the challenges clubs face, how digital communities can help keep the game moving forward and thriving, and of course the story behind Fill Your Boots itself. So Sean, welcome. Welcome to Our Rugby Club.
Thank you. That was a hell of an intro.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been talked to that highly, apart from my wife and my mother. But that was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So let's start with the simple question. Why the hell would you take on such a mammoth task as somebody who was already taking on massive tasks for his own club?
Because if I didn't, who would? Yeah, I think if I didn't, who was going to do it, and who's got the inside knowledge of, as you said, having much every role in a rugby club and a small rugby club at that, where there is a handful of us that run it day to day. Still, a one-team club who struggle for players. Why wouldn't I be the one that wanted to do that? And that was 10 years ago. So the same issues are still there. My rugby club, Service and Decker, is still facing the same issues. So if not me, who would?
Well, that's a fair point, and I think isn't that the basis of community rugby across the whole of England, Scotland and Wales, Ireland, and the world probably.
It's everyone mucking in because it is a community. It's family. It's brothers and sisters, fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, friends. My rugby club has had me and my dad play, my brother-in-law play, my stepdad play, my best friends play. It's everything to. It means everything to me. So if I want it to be here, the time that my kids are ready to play for. So why wouldn't I want to try and put building blocks in place or do little things like this to help the game that means so much to me, really?
There's so many rugby clubs that were larger entities. Was your club the same? Did it used to run three sides and a vet side or anything like that?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's always been a one-team club based out of Tolworth, Surrey. We were part of in terms of large entity, we were part of Rebranding Decker, which was a naval equipment company, which was bought by a company about 20 years ago. We were sort of the last of the sporting organisations that were left, because there was a football team, there was a cricket team, there was the rugby team, there was the bowls team, and once the sale went through 20 years ago, perhaps, we were sort of the last of the team standing. So no, we've never had a 2-3 team club. It's always been one. We call ourselves a barely 15. We still, as I said, we're still in the same boat that we were 10 years ago, but that's always been the case. As I keep learning. Yeah,
It sounds to me as if it's a bit like the old mine workers that would join social clubs in their communities. The
yeah,
heart
it's
of it
exactly
was,
that. Yeah.
I mean, I must admit, I haven't heard of the company, so forgive me. But how long has the rugby club been associated with a company before it split away? Is it something that's been around 50 years, 100 years? 100?
So the club is 65 years old.
Oh, wow.
I'd imagine 40, probably 45 of that were linked to Record Decca, the company. Decca famously turned down the Beatles. Decca Records famously turned down the
Ah,
Beatles in favour of the Rolling Stones. So that's where the Decca bit comes from. And it's a part of the company is now what Vodafone is. So just for a bit of context. Yeah, so the once the company was sold, they'd sold the social club that they had to a five-a-side football company, which is still there. We're still allowed to use some of the facilities. We play 100 yards up the road at Kingston University, their sports ground, which is just incredible, and they've been phenomenal hosts for us. But we've never tried. We don't train. We don't have any assets. So our survival is based off each other rather than having to run our club as a business or have 1,000 people come through it every week. So there's, first, second, third team plus the minis and juniors. We don't have any of that, which was probably helped our cause a little bit. I think had we had what other clubs have, I don't think it would have survived. Probably not even pre-COVID, to be honest. So yeah, we're still here, we're still fighting, and yeah, that was where the sort of the germ of Philly Boots came from. Was I was the captain of the club 10 years ago, just been reinstated for this season, which is incredible, and my dream to be the captain of this club. 10 years ago, I was the captain of the club, and we were getting to a point where you know cancelling games on a Friday evening because we've got 10 or 11 players available, and like the sort of third or fourth time of asking, it's in a row. It's quite embarrassing, really, having to make that phone call and letting other people down,
yeah.
which is something that no one ever really wants to do. So having a little bit of a background in websites and social media, and dabbling a bit in that field, so there must be a way that clubs in our area, Surrey being one of the largest area for clubs anywhere in the world, there must be a way of just connecting people and trying to get some help, really. And then very quickly it became started off as a Facebook account and a Twitter account, and very quickly became something much larger. Well, I found it became a much larger issue. So clubs from all over the country were wanting a bit of help as well, which is sort of mind blowing to me. And one of the, and then it's sort of grown ever since, and we're almost 10.5 years into this, and we're still making games happen.
I'm fascinated when I speak to guests at our rugby club here. So many different stories, but they're almost all the same.
Absolutely.
What would you say would be the looking at your club? Let's keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
What is the biggest challenge that you have at your club when you talk about 10 years ago having maybe 10 or 12 players available and you still want to play a game of
Yeah.
rugby? Just paint a picture for people listening in as to what the challenges were, and are they still the same with your club? Exactly the same, or have they morphed into something slightly different? Can you
So I
blame
guess
anything
10
as
years
well?
ago we were,
And can
sorry,
you blame anything as well? I like a bit of blame early. Well,
there's a lot of things we can blame people for. So 10 years ago we were in a merit table, one of the lowest merit tables in Surrey, if not the lowest merit table in Surrey. So we've got 20 fixtures to fulfill. We have pitch costs of probably 140, £150 a game at that point, because we're renting a pitch rather than using our own. And yeah, we had a core group of players that were we 10, and then probably another 20 that might dip in and out. And once you've used up everybody, it's quite difficult to fulfill games. And it was that carried on until probably just after COVID. we decided look, we needed to do something, so we pulled out. We came out of the merit league and have decided that we're probably going to only play 5 to 6 times a season over the next few years. See what happens. See if we can attract people that. Yeah, what I mean by attract people is we don't. We want to be that club where anyone can come and play. You don't have to train twice a week. You don't have to. Certainly don't need to commit other than when you've said that you're available, that you're available. But we know that things happen, lifestyles have changed, and things like that. Our aim is now to fulfil 6 games this season, and we're 2/3 of the way there. We have a game at the weekend that we're excited about, and so that means because we've only done 6, we can play probably 4 of them away. So our pitch fees have suddenly gone from probably £1,500 to £2,000 a year down to 300, and we can make big deals with them. We can treat them as family reunions and get the families and the kids down and the old guys that have played before and make big occasions out of them rather than it just being a game of rugby. Whereas we probably didn't do that, or we didn't do it well enough 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago. So we rebranded the club. We've changed the name, we've changed the logo, all in aid of trying to attract people that want to play, or certainly don't want to commit to. We added a walking rugby team because we knew that our the demographic of our members were a lot older than people that want to play 10 times a season. So we've done that consistently over the last 2 or 3 years. Every Saturday morning, walking rugby's taken place, and then we want to move that. We want to move that on, and actually, that's created links within our local council and our local community that we never had before. So almost the 15-a-side game has become a bit of a sideshow rather than the actual meat and potatoes of it. It's the bits that we are doing well at are the walking rugby and the non-contact stuff. And then the nice icing on the cake is getting to play 6 times a year. And we've picked up quite a few members from it. Our membership has actually never been higher. Our social media engagement has never been higher. Our communication within our own club has never been better. So what were we doing right and what have we been doing wrong? Okay, great. Let's now do all the things we didn't do well. Let's do them well, and we'll see what happens.
It's blown my mind, first of all. I know there's community rugby and then there's community rugby, and it sounds to me as if
Yeah.
you've.
Oh, there's I think the definition of grassroots is very, how do I put it? It's not necessarily used in the right way. I consider my club grassroots because it is the lowest of the low. And that's not being derogatory towards us as a club.
Put yourself down, Sean, please.
It's certainly not. It's certainly not taken that way, and it's not. We know what we are. We know the level that we're at. We know what we can commit to. We know what we do on the periphery, and that is lower than most people. We know what we can offer. We cannot offer training because it costs us money. We cannot offer a bar because we don't have one. We can't offer a mini and junior sections because we don't have the infrastructure to to do it properly. What we do is we can commit to 52 weeks of walking rugby. We can commit to 6 rugby matches wherever they're played, whoever they're against, it doesn't matter. Rather than having to do mini and juniors on a Saturday, or playing 24 games a season, or having a second and third team, or a vets team, or a women's team. We can't, so we don't. And we cut our cloth accordingly. But we've worked hard to get to where we are, to the point where we've put carrots in place. If we hit certain points, if we hit certain markers, then we would organise going back on tour. So we're going on tour to Cardiff to go and watch Bristol versus Quins in a couple of weeks. We're not playing. If we can get to these different things, we can then go, great, we're in a great position. Let's go on tour. Let's do something. Or we can go to we treat ourselves. Our membership's never been higher, so therefore, we needed to increase it on last year. Well, in that case, we've earned doing something special, or creating a new kit, for example, or organising a day in the pub because we know that we can do it. We know that we've earned it. So it's the definitions of grassroots and community are two very different things, and I am incredibly proud of everything that we've achieved over the last 65 years, and especially in the last 2 or 3 years.
I was just going to say the other outcome could have been that your club folds because you can't get a game in
Yeah,
America. And this is something that was picked on before by one of our guests who said, look, we accept there's a difference between elite rugby and what I call community grassroots rugby. Yours is even different from that. But I refereed a game a few months ago with a second team of a club, and they were in a league because they'd asked to be in the league by the RFU. Even though they came fourth in the league below, they were put into the league above, and they lost 6, 7 players overnight because these players did not
yeah,
want to train to play community rugby,
yeah,
opted to leave because they couldn't get a side. I hate seeing the walkovers and home walkovers
yeah,
on England
yeah.
rugby results.
Which is why I created what I created all that time ago, is because I didn't want to be the cause of that.
But at the same time,
Wanted to find a
I was going to say, at the same time, you walked away from the leagues full stop. One, you could
yeah,
bring yourself into a true grassroots community feel, because I'm guessing you
yeah,
saw that as the only way that the players wanted to operate within your particular club.
yeah. We knew that we canvassed everybody. We knew that the core group of people couldn't commit to every week. I can't commit to every week. One, my body won't allow me to, but also my kids and my wife deserve attention at the weekend. Same with everybody else. We were younger 10 years ago. We could do it. And now everybody has commitments, whether it's work or families or whatever. So we went to them and said, how last year we did 4 games. This year we're going to do 6. So we know where we stand. We know that the same core group of players commit 4 to 6, and it will continue that way until we decide that it's not right. And that's why I created what I created, because I didn't want to be. I didn't see the point in a walk. I still don't see the point in walkovers. Rugby should be being played. I get that. I get that people are wanting to put out competitive sides in fixtures. I saw a Facebook post of I can't remember what club it was, but they pulled out of a game because the side that they were going to put out wouldn't have been competitive enough. Who cares?
Really?
It's 30 people plus substitutes or whatever, if you've got them, if you're lucky to have them, missing out on playing a game of rugby
That is crazy. Itself. I
because
refereed a game 110-17, another one 99-0, 57-0. But they came on delighted that they'd played a game of rugby, even
yeah,
though they know that they hadn't performed brilliantly against the opposition. But they played rugby.
the first 2 games. Yeah, exactly. They played rugby. The first 2 games we played this season, we were both against the same club. Their club, the first occasion, we were playing at home. They called us the day before. We've got 8. No problem. We had 16 or 17. No problem. Come. Don't cancel. Come. We'll make it work. They ended up beating us with our own players, but no one cared. No one cared. We go to their place a couple of months later. They also only had 8. We only had 8. So we played 8 on 8, and for 40 minutes. Referee loved it. We loved it. It was just good fun. We loved it. Like we got the game on. We all had a game of rugby. It might not have been what it looks like on the telly, but it was a good. It was a good afternoon's rugby. We all had a run around. We all had a beer afterwards, and it was great fun. Now, what more do you want? Unless you're wanting to progress and move up and do really well in sport. Just let's just get the game on.
Well, this is the question and why it's so valuable to have, I believe, this podcast. What do people want to get involved with rugby? I don't like to have a dig at the RFU. It's unfair to constantly berate them, but they brought in all these leagues and merit tables, and everything has to be structured, and then you get the admin people of the rugby clubs that want to check how many players are available, and that means they were going to win, and it all gets a little bit too much at the grassroots end. And I do see the real true benefit of what you've achieved. It sounds amazing. I just don't know how many clubs have got that attitude or aptitude to run of such a, I don't know, would you call it an informal club? I don't know. What do you call your club?
I
Members have
call
you
it a
got?
lot of things, but we have playing members probably 12,
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
Non-playing members is probably another 30.
And you got the walking rugby
So it's not,
people.
and we've got walking rugby, yeah, yeah. So what would I call my club? I don't know, but I don't think we would have had this attitude if we didn't have if if I didn't create Philly Boots and sort of understand a little bit more about what goes into running other clubs, or talking to people within other clubs, and their issues and their outlooks on the sport within their club and from the outside. I don't think we'd have this. I think we'd have similar to them 10 years ago, because I know a little bit more. I think my attitude is, no, we're playing. Let's play. Why do we need to cancel? Because it would be very hypocritical of me running a grassroots player exchange, telling everybody to get the game on, and then not get the game on
Yeah.
for the same reasons.
Yeah. I mean, we've got game on as part of the structure of the RFU, and we call it game on.
But who knows? Who knows about it?
But nobody knows about it. Nobody knows about it.
Nobody knows
I mean,
about it.
as referees, I am a North Mids referee. All we want to do is referee a game of rugby. That's genuinely.
Yeah,
And sometimes,
yeah.
and I had a game cancelled the other day because it was a league game and one team only got 13 players and they couldn't see themselves playing a game of rugby. So they cancelled it. And I'm like, well, why don't you just turn up with 13 players and see what happens next?
And we'd fix it.
You
Yeah,
know,
and we'd fix it. It'd be fixed.
the
I
opposition will walk
don't.
over two players, get the game on, get the game on.
Yeah, get the game on, and that is, yeah. Let the boys play, and girls play. Let's get them playing.
I was going to. That was probably one of my next questions, Sean. Is what do you think would have happened if you didn't have what you have with your club now? Where would these people have gone? Would they've gone to different rugby clubs? What would have happened? Do you think?
Wow, probably the most important thing is we wouldn't see each other every week,
Well, yeah,
and it isn't.
yeah, yeah,
So I think that would probably be the bigger loss, is that I wouldn't get to see my friends every week or once a month,
yeah.
rather than whether they were playing rugby or not.
Yeah, you can have a dual
I've got
registration, of course you can.
and people don't realise that. People don't realise that the second registration with the RFU is, you can adapt it every week.
Hmm.
Like they're not told that. It's not being told to them that is possible. Being told that you're registered to the clubs, and that is the end of it. And that's the only people that you can play for. I've got my friend Robert, who is the chairman of the club, and helps out with this. He will go and play for anyone that needs him, whether that's Wooden Spoon or vets teams, or whoever. He also knows that he's got more games behind him than he has in front of him. So why would he want to not? Why shouldn't he?
I'm too old to play rugby. Well, no, I'm not. Yeah, I am. I'm too old. That's why I'm a ref. But it was a club affiliation sort of thing. I would have found it quite difficult to be a journeyman in my playing days. Does that make sense?
Why? Yeah, it makes sense, but why?
Well, there was no why. I'm just saying that I would have found it difficult. But then again, if I probably had an alternative, but then again, hold on, the why. because I saw my friends that weekend
Yeah,
that I played rugby
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and we had a beer.
yeah.
Tell me,
Going on that, there is also of you can always make rugby. There's friendships everywhere. And play for a club that you don't know anyone, and suddenly you might end up with 15 new best friends,
oh, that's a point.
or you'll be a friend for life because you helped them out. You made the effort to come and play a rugby game that you didn't know anyone with, that you didn't know anybody, and you made that rugby game happen. You'll be bought a beer in that clubhouse for the rest of your life. And it's happened. It's happened to lots of people that have used Philly Boots to. One of the very first people that ever used Philly Boots became the captain of his club 2 years later.
Okay.
And all he did was he put out a tweet to us, I'm looking for a game. 2 years later, he was the captain of that club.
I've got 1,000 questions in my head and not enough time to think about it. But if see, the way I look at it is the clubs are are encouraged to perform, dare I say, and with the merit tables and the league tables and the development tables and all these tables in these clubs now have coaches which are suggesting that you got to train and da 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 da. Um, that's one level. The other thing is maybe I'm a bit old school that playing in circles of clubs that I historically played in when I was playing, 20 odd years ago, probably now. You had that nice circle of friendship around different clubs because
Yeah.
it was a non-league thing. It was a community, and you played around in circles. I do wonder whether or not, without that sort of structure, that a lot of clubs would fail in running their clubs week on week. Maybe they should know about Fill. I don't know. How many members do you have in the Fill Your Boots community? How many people rely on your platform to try and pull games together?
Well, we have a social media following of 25,000 plus 1,800 members of our website.
And
Yeah.
how many games would
From
you?
from four. Gone.
How many
Sorry.
games would you think? I don't know. Is it over a month or a week or whatever that you have probably pulled together that might not have taken place if your platform didn't exist?
Pass on the actual stats on
That's
it.
okay. Just is it a few hundred or
I haven't got them in
so?
front of me. No, not certainly not that much. Certainly not these days. Certainly in the first probably pre-COVID, it was probably 25 games a week.
There's still a lot.
That was pre-COVID. Post-COVID, the platform slightly changed. Not necessarily just being about players and fixtures. It's about being club development and running a club rather than it being an admin tool. It's more of a development tool and a sort of central hub for everything to do with community side of the sport. It's probably a lot less, but that doesn't mean if I said it was 10 games a week rather than 25.
But there's many tools out there. Media's opened up a lot more, hasn't it, in terms of people?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, and that's why I wanted to bring something in-house rather than rely on the noise of Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, because not wanting things to get sort of lost in the ether. But it's a slow burn when you've got 1,800 members, but that includes 400 rugby clubs from 24 different countries. So
Wow.
it's that's an incredible sort of thing, and it makes me so ridiculously proud, really, that this is, there was, even after sort of 10.5 years, this is still useful to people. Yeah, because it's a lot less because we do a lot more,
Let's talk about
if
a
that
lot
makes
more
sense.
then. Uh,
Go on then.
what typical subject matters do you cover on the platform? What's the buzzwords at the moment or the hot topics that everybody is challenged with that your platform's helping maybe fix?
Certainly marketing, on how to write a match report, what should be on a recruitment poster. Those are probably the biggest things right now, especially as we head into the back end of the season, and sort of the use of AI, and I see a lot of recruitment posters with AI on it. So it's sort of signposting people to the right places to and the right templates to use for those types of things. We've got a lot on coach development at the moment. We've just been joined by Jess Banyard, who is a phenomenal rugby coach, and she's sharing her insights with us. And she's got a lot to say about coach development and the sort of future of the coaching, especially in the women's game. So we're very lucky to have her on board. And yeah, then there's sort of the general chats within the groups about trying to find a fixture and trying to find a player. Or there's a post in there at the moment about trying to find somewhere to park a minibus. Someone's going on tour, they're trying to find park their minibus and asking around for a local club rather than trying to put it in an NCP car park. Yeah, there's lots on there. There's 400 clubs currently signed up from 24 different countries, including Syria and Ghana, as well as Germany, Denmark, Poland, plus the usual suspects, and lots in America, which is quite brilliant. So yeah, we're trying to build something where people can come, learn, share their experiences, perhaps save a few quid on buy the sort of purchasing group that we're part of, and just the day-to-day running of a rugby club. Not necessarily, it's not an admin tool. It's not a tool to generate sponsorship, because there's some brilliant ones of those ones out there. It's not Spond, where you can tell people when your training sessions are on, this is a come and learn, come and share, come and tell everybody what you're up to, the good stuff and the bad.
And I noticed that you've made an announcement with a partnership with North Midlands RFU. What's that all about?
Yeah, so it's taken 10 years. It's taken 10 years for a CB to acknowledge us. It really generally has. You knock on a lot of doors, and you spend a lot of time kicking, screaming, and shouting, and to get nowhere. That's not just sort of the bigger doors in Twickenham or Cardiff or wherever. It's the CBs as well. And yes, one opened their door. North Mids opened his door and said, "Let's have a chat. Let's see what we can do. These are our problems. How do you think you can help?" I said, "Well, yeah, exactly what I just said. So we're trying to build a place where people can come, share, learn, promote, and if you've got issues, let's use those to generate talking points. And if you've got stuff that you need to share and tell people about, then we have the avenues outside of this to do that as well." And it started really well. We announced it this week. We're hoping it's the first of lots more. Yeah, we're going to see how it goes, and yeah, be a hub for everybody in the North Mids. Come and chat and share their experiences, good and bad, and hopefully we can keep rugby growing in that area.
Other than the recruitment of players, which is always the big one, what else are subjects that are frustrating people at the moment, do you think, in running the clubs that they run?
It's going to be the same moans at the RFUs and things like that about money and players and the elite game. We saw a lot of stuff over the last couple of weeks of the ring fencing of the Premiership. It's not ring fencing. That's always big. People's first port of call is, let's blame other people rather than looking inward, seeing what their club does or what they do to promote their own house or get their own house in order. I think it's going to take a lot to bring those people back, but I think there are some plans in place where hopefully powers that be will listen to people the people shouting the loudest.
Yeah, I mean, I've been around the game for a very long time, and I'm nobody in the game. I'm just a community referee player.
Same.
And got a passion. That's why we do this podcast, and that's why I do the ref cam, to inspire youngsters to watch it and players to understand some of my decision making on the pitch that they don't understand, and spectators as well that don't understand the game. Curious, we do come back to this elite game and the commentary about it, and Do you have any particular thoughts on whether or not I don't know, let's not talk about the RFU too much, but whether or not it's almost not the game that we should be talking about, if that makes sense, for community and grassroots rugby, because the refereeing's different. The don't often know the game. In fact, I heard the other day that somebody was at Scotland watching the game and people were walking up the aisles with their beers, didn't even turn around when the crowd erupted because Scotland were about to score. I mean, but they go because they just go and say, "Well, I was there at the games these days." You know what I mean?
Well, they can't afford it.
Well, yeah,
You're paying £200 a ticket at Twickenham. Couldn't,
no, I wouldn't want to go
certainly
because
not.
I'd just be criticising the referee's decisions.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because the game that you see on telly is certainly not the game that's being played at third team level.
No,
Certainly not. And it's not refereed the same. It's not spectated the same. It's not treated the same. It's not the same. Or
it's not the game that's being played at Rakel Decker either, is it?
but it's not the same, but it's treated the same, if that makes sense. The same high tackle rules are in, the same concussion rules are in, the same the same refereeing decisions are the same. It's just a lot slower. Does that make sense?
Well,
So
of
the
course, you've got the
the
referees, two ARs, two ARARs, plus the TMO. Yeah,
plus 12 cameras,
yeah.
people give up their time to play the game, referee a game, to spectate a game. It's not the same. It's not the same as going to watch an international game. It's certainly not. But it does seem to be that it's treated in the same way by governing bodies, when perhaps there needs to be a bit more of a split between council and councils, and not just, this isn't just the RFU, but
Would you agree that there's no real messaging about grassroots rugby? Not really. It's not a national.
oh, they started an Instagram account.
Who did?
The RFU did.
Oh, when did? Oh, I
Yeah,
must have missed my phone.
yeah. There you go.
When did they last post anything?
This afternoon it's quite active.
Is it?
Yeah, it's quite active. The Welsh unions and the Irish and the Scots don't seem to be doing the same. So do you pat the RFU on the back for doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
God, no.
But
So the RFU, maybe I've missed it here, but it's all about the under 18s lineup, the squad for France, all these sort of things. Is it?
no, there's a community. It's called
Is it?
community rugby
What's it called?
at community rugby.
Community rugby. Is it?
Yeah,
Community.
but that's if you didn't know. It says they've got 10,000 followers, but if you didn't know that it was there and you're involved in the game,
Heavily
what
involved
good
in.
is it? What good is it to you?
I do worry that when you see the RFU talking about their Focus 2030 group and it's going to be £500 million worth of investment into the game, that my rugby club that I'm affiliated with won't see an awful lot of that money. Your rugby club won't see a lot of that money.
Won't,
Uh,
won't say a penny.
Somebody maybe at level 6 might get a 4G new pitch. That would be nice for them that are running 5 or 6 sides, but it won't go down to the level that you're operating at. I mean, would you say that the game, from your opinion, was the game sort of affected quite negatively by the number of leagues and requirements for clubs to be part of a more structured environment rather than community? Or am I being a little bit facetious towards my experience?
I wouldn't know, if I'm honest. I wouldn't know. But not being around a league structure all the time, I wouldn't know what the requirements are, to be perfectly honest.
No. But if people want to play rugby but they don't want to be part of a league setup, they've got fewer options these days, don't they? I think.
Yes,
Clubs are
yes,
trying. I noticed that clubs are trying with walking rugby. That's good.
yeah,
And there was a lot of money being spent on the women's rugby, which is great, and I love. In fact, I'm refereeing this weekend on a Sunday. But I understand that funding's been cut now.
Right.
So
Okay.
what's going to happen next with the women's?
Is it being cut or is it just being called something else?
I
Because that's what happens with these Project 2030 type things. It'd be the same money, it'd just be called something else.
I just feel that it gets
But I don't know.
channeled
I
into
don't know.
different directions consistently. That we the people don't really understand what's happening in the background. You've got the money going to refereeing, then it's money going to female refereeing, then it's talking about money into schools, then it's talking about female rugby. It just seems to, just like boom, 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 lots of different directions.
Hmm.
Are you going? I mean, your rugby club. Do you think there's a chance that you might spawn something else out of it? You may not have any aspirations to do it.
No, I don't think that, to be honest, I don't think there's aspirations to, really. Because we don't have the infrastructure of any other club. And our organising committee is, 5 people.
Your message to people in the game. Let's say you've got a bunch of players that maybe have become former players now because their club might have folded. What would your advice be to a load of folk that are not playing rugby anymore because their rugby club has gone by the by, but they're still mates?
My message would be there are plenty of other clubs to go and play for and still be mates. And you might just make some new mates. And you'll still get to play the game that you love with, if you go with your friends, then you're going to do it with the people that you love too. So don't be a former player when you can still be a rugby player. And it's not just playing 15s anymore. It's as you said, it's walking, it's touch, it's you don't have to get smacked in the face every week. Just throw a ball, lose the want or the ability to just throw a ball around with your mates.
I drive up to a local rugby club for a regional referee meeting on a Tuesday night, as I did last night, and there was 6 people doing walking rugby, 3 against 3,
Yeah,
and they were loving it.
yeah.
You're loving it. I don't know. They weren't the youngest I've ever seen, but what a great thing to see. Just these 6 people, and they would. I mean, to me, it was like, what the hell are you doing? But to them, when they came off, they then went and had a beer in the bar. They couldn't.
And they're still throwing a ball around with their mates.
And I suppose what we could take away from all of this is if these folk want to be their friends of their friends and they don't want to go to another rugby club, why don't you phone up your mates and see if they just want to throw a ball around on the local rec?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Remember of like you were as a kid going down the park and just kicking the
Yeah,
ball around, but this time you can do it with half a dozen of your mates that are either too old, too lazy, or whatever it is, but they do it with a smile on the face. And they could, if you want to get, I mean, I haven't had a drink for 7 years, but you can still go to the pub afterwards if you want to go to the pub afterwards.
of course you can. We can have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
The world's changed.
Maybe we should be recommending this as a national initiative to the community grassroots game. Forget clubs. It's like the couch to 5K, isn't it? What can we call it?
I know that there is a group called Man versus Fact.
Ah,
If you've
yes,
ever
I've heard of
them.
those.
And they've got sort of a touch rugby, walking rugby initiative going, which sounds amazing. Right.
So we need to check those out.
It's doing
Man
wonders.
versus Fat. Was that what it was called?
I believe that's what it's called.
See, all options are on the table in the community.
And why shouldn't it be? Why shouldn't it be that you can be a rugby club without having to hit a shield all the time? You can throw a ball around, you can play walking, you can play touch, and it might just increase your membership base. If you're able to offer a little bit more, that is not just the first 15 every week, then you might just find that your membership numbers will could fly through the roof. Ours certainly has.
I'm again just thinking out loud. I don't know enough about your platform to say that this would work. But if there were people across let's say your county, let's say, and there was various groups of people. They were doing this, 6 or 7 people getting together, but they fancied a game of 15
Yeah,
aside. Are you the platform that they should come and say, look, there's 6 or 7 of us. We're looking to find a few more for a game and see if we can make
yeah,
something happen with a third party?
absolutely. That's what it's always been designed to be, a place where if the club down the road has had their game cancelled because they've only got 8, those 8 people go and help out another. Or if you're in town for a couple of days ago and you find yourself at a loose end and you've got your boots with you, go and help out another team. You'll be welcomed into a rugby club with open arms. There'll be a beer at the end of the bar for you, and you'll be sort of thanked for forever because you helped them out. And yes, that's what it was all designed for 10 years ago. Be that place where people can get a game of rugby
I mean,
wherever they are in the world.
I do see now and again on some of the
Yeah,
rugby club Facebook groups people posting about our games being cancelled and we're looking for a game. Is
yeah,
if they haven't signed up to Fill Your Boots
yeah,
platform, they should do. So how would they find? Let's assume that they don't know you, they don't know about
yeah,
FYB. What would
yeah.
somebody have to do to register and get involved with your platform to try and make the game?
There's a number of different ways people can get in contact with us via our Facebook or our Instagram. We tend to use that more than we do Twitter these days, but that's another conversation. But they can send us a direct message. We'll pop the post out pretty much immediately. We'll see what happens. And that's always what we say to people. Have to see what happens because the ether of Facebook and Instagram is so large that if no one sees it, then it's really difficult to. We can't guarantee that it's going to work. But that's why we wanted to create FYB as a platform, the website fybrugby.com, to be that place where there isn't the noise of other social media platforms. It's to be the grassroots rugby's social media platform. So people can register for free. It's one of those platforms that is always going to be free. No, there's no subscription charges. There'll certainly never be a subscription charge. Certainly as long as I'm running it, there won't be. And yeah, and then they can just post themselves. And if you post something in the platform, we'll post it on social media too. So you get that sort of double hit. And yeah, it's incredibly fluid. There's no cost for any of this stuff. It's just if you find us, and this is very much a one person thing. This is it's me and a mobile phone, much to my wife's sometimes dismay. So yeah, it's me at the end of the phone. It's not a AI message or a chatbot or whatever. It's me, and I will answer everything, and I will do my best to post everything pretty quickly when it comes to trying to find a fixture or a player or trying to help you find a game. So that's what it's very sort of very loose and very analog perhaps. For a digital platform, it's fairly analog, but it works at the moment. So yeah, all you got to do is just get in touch.
Brilliant, Sean. It's been amazing. I've learned so much about pure grassroots rugby, and we will put the links below. And thank your wife for allowing you to come to our rugby club this evening. It's been fascinating. And
I thank you for opening the door and letting us in.
yeah, and if anybody watching today wants to find out more from guests such as Sean, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and do all the usual thing. But until the next time, Sean, thanks for your time.